There's two things that stand out in Painkiller: well-executed simplicity and bad crap insane weapons. Painkiller is what happens when you not only understand the essence of FPS games, but also throw caution to the wind and embrace the absurd. This is an over-the-top shooter populated with thematic enemies, surrealistically outrageous weapons, and a healthy dose of dark humor. But does the 2004 game still hold up decades later? Short answer is definitely. Why it still holds up is the long answer and the rest of this video. Let's start with the simplicity of its core gameplay loop. You start a stage, enemies attack in waves, you defeat them, exploration is optional but rewarded, rinse and repeat. No real platforming parts, no need to hunt around for differently colored keys, you get in, shoot, get out. Sublime first-person shooter simplicity. You play the role of Daniel, who, spoiler alert, dies alongside his wife in a car accident. While his wife went on to heaven, for whatever reason Dan's stuck in purgatory, and this angel dude, who looks suspiciously like Cain from the Legend of Cain series, gives him a way out of purgatory by sending him on a mission to kill the 4 generals of hell with guns. That's about as much of the story as you need to proceed. Oh yeah, and at a certain point a character called Eve shows up and helps you. The second standout is the bad crap awesomeness of its outlandish weapon roster. Starting with your basic melee weapon called Painkiller, which can be used as a ranged weapon with its secondary attack, which will require a bit of experimentation to get a feel of how to use it. When enemies cross the bright beam, they take damage. Most of your arsenal looks like something the developers came up with when they were 12 and never really let go of those dreams. And in this case, that is a good thing. For instance, there's a weapon that launches full-on wooden stakes at enemies. These stakes will not only pin enemies to the surrounding walls, but they also follow a ballistic trajectory, meaning they have a curve. Then there is a weapon that fires shurikens with its primary attack and lightning with the secondary one. I don't think I can expand upon that one more, to be honest, except with saying that this weapon has an extra special attack I'll let you discover on your own. Probably the most additional of weapons is the shotgun, but even that is taken over the top here because its secondary attack is a freeze bolt, which comes in useful several times throughout the game. The only way the weapon mechanics could have been improved would have been a dedicated melee attack button, where you could hit your enemies with whatever weapon you're holding, because sometimes waiting to reload is just that little bit too long. The game is divided into chapters, each of them featuring their own thematic environment, varying from relatively sparse graveyards and mine tunnels to quite detailed ones like the asylum level, for instance. There's an obvious horror-tropic slant to the environment designs overall. The game taking place in the realm of purgatory means you'll be visiting a weird melange of real-world inspired settings like medieval Europe, ancient Babylon, Venice, or your more run-of-the-mill military installations. The various levels feature all sorts of surreal weirdness, like not only is there a UFO in one of them, but it's a Soviet UFO. Then there is also jokes from the devs. People Can Fly is the studio that made Painkiller. Each chapter is one large level divided into sections. Once you survive all the enemy waves of one section, the checkpoint will turn on and the next section opens up. This tends to work for the majority of the game time. However, there are a few places here and there where it turns into a where the fuck do I go game, and you'll find yourself backtracking and walking around the level for 10 minutes till you notice a hallway or ladder you hadn't previously. You can also get into the occasional situation when the game just won't continue because it didn't load an enemy correctly and you'll have to repeat from the last checkpoint. But this last part only happened to me once, so it might not actually happen at all for you. By far the most interesting chapter from the base game is the final one. On a conceptual level, it visually smashes together parts from all the previous ones, all of them focusing on warfare obviously, but it also presents them in something of a time bubble. Things are stuck mid-action, including the explosion of an atomic bomb. It's quite the sight. Anyway, models on the other hand aren't the most original, because you'd expect more demon type enemies as opposed to not Scorpion, Yoshimitsu from Temu, or sort of Quake 2 guy. But they are varied and differ from chapter to chapter, with some larger models usually being more difficult to take down, being resistant to stakes for instance. This is where the shotgun freezer balls come in handy. The boss fights, on the other hand, are arguably the weakest parts of the game. That said, in all honesty, there's not a lot you can do within this genre with boss battle design, besides shooting at things at various times, running around to avoid damage, and a lot of trial and error till you understand what it is you have to do. At the very most, you can add some platforming elements, which in my experience will generally only add to the frustration quota, not the challenge. If you're having some trouble figuring out how to kill Swamp Thing, for instance, there's really no shame in looking it up online. Boss fights aren't the purpose of Painkiller. It's not a Souls-like. Souls, however, are the operative word in this game, because you can absorb the souls of the fallen which you have vanquished. Vacuuming up the souls will increase your HP, and after absorbing a certain amount, you will turn into a demon for a very limited period of time. This demon morph mode makes you invulnerable and incredibly powerful. It also changes your vision to something reminiscent of Predator vision. Everything gets desaturated with the exception of enemies who glow red and whom you can destroy in one hit. This sort of plays a minor role in the story as well. The different environments are also populated with various kinds of destructible objects, which, after being destroyed, will spawn gold coins you can collect. This is a reference to the ancient Greek and Roman practice of burying the dead with coins, a practice that has survived into modern times. For instance, where I come from, which is a mainly Christian Orthodox country, people bury the dead with money in their pockets, so as they have fare to quote-unquote pay for the ride, which is generally referred to as a train, which kinda dovetails this into the entire plot of Grim Fandango if we think about it. Anyway, but in Painkiller, you can use the coins to purchase temporary buffs which you gain through achieving specific goals during missions. Each chapter has a special victory condition, which if you achieve, you gain a tarot card that has some sort of temporary buff and which costs a certain amount of coins to activate. These cards aren't as useful when playing on an average difficulty level, but they do come in increasingly handy the higher the difficulty. The music is pretty metal, as in literally, it's metal music. But it's also an action cue. Whenever it starts up, you know enemies are coming, and when it dies down, you know you just finished the current enemy rush. Each chapter tends to have its own unique songs, as well as some common ones, with one chapter featuring a surprisingly wacky background music reminiscent of the Bulk and Skull theme. And that's your gratuitous Power Rangers reference for the year. In the Black Edition, which is what I played for this video, once you finish the base game by killing Satan to death somehow, don't think about it too much, makes about as much sense as the rest of the game, you can jump into the Battle Out of Hell expansion. And I gotta say, there's a marked difference in the overall quality of the expansion in the superlative sense. You can look at the vanilla game as a bit of a campy sort of experience, not taking itself very seriously, because it really shouldn't, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the Battle Out of Hell expansion is genuinely disturbing. Between the vanilla game and its expansion, Daniel grows stubble and the demons also get an orcish makeover. Eve gets a boob holder and fun is had all around. The enemy models are considerably more interesting and diverse in this expansion, not to mention more appropriately thematic and way more horror aesthetic-y. The clowns and the marionettes in the amusement park level come to mind, and so do the big-titted nurses in the lab chapter. The expansion has a bit more occasional platforming, and that is a bit annoying and usually optional in the base game, you know, to reach secret areas or armor, but when it's not optional, it's used as a part of a puzzle type areas, and those can be a bit of a break in the flow of the game. Your experiences may vary with these, I'm not a big fan, but you might enjoy them as a bit of a break from the absurdist insanity. Painkiller is a wild and wacky ride through the underworld that is equal parts visual spectacle and frantic shooter. Its unique blend of humor, violence and surrealism make it a truly unforgettable experience. While the game's graphics and enemy models may show their age, the core gameplay remains as satisfying as ever. The over-the-top weapons, bizarre enemies, and surreal environments create a world that alternates between terrifying and pretty hilarious. Whether you're a fan of classic first-person shooters or simply looking for a fun and chaotic experience, Painkiller is a must-play. If you enjoyed this video, you may want to check out the video on screen right now. I've been Stephen Nonsens, thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.